Welcome to We Digress with Joy and Jess. Join hosts and longtime friends Joy Simpson and Jess Perry as they tackle the stuff of life the only way they know how, with honesty, faith, and humor. This is We Digress with Joy and Jess.
Sorry. Hey there, friends. As Jessica gets her laughter together, this is We Digress with Joy and Jess. I am Joy.
And I am Jess. Oh, man. We are a pair of us today, let me tell you.
We are definitely a pair today. We got a few updates for you, but we were actually talking before we started because we always kind of just catch up anyway, though we talk to each other pretty much every day anyway.
Right.
But Jessica, brings up what we're going to share. So she's drinking eggnog, and she says it's eggnog, and I make a face. For those of you who don't know what that face was, that's what it is. Those of you who are listening, I am not a fan of eggnog, as we have established that I don't drink a lot of dairy type situations unless it's ice cream or a milkshake, which Chick-fil-A has a peppermint milkshake back, and I'm really excited because I enjoy it. It sounds weird, but it's really good.
Hey, you know what? The people that brought us peach milkshakes, they know what's up.
Yes, their peach milkshakes are very tasty. So I was telling Jessica that I had another friend who wanted to introduce me to coquito, which is the Puerto Rican I think it's Puerto Rican though. I want to say Puerto Rican Cuban version of eggnog. So of course it has rum and it has like coconut flavor and all this other stuff. And Jessica's like, wait, there's a Puerto Rican version of this. I'm like, yeah. She's like, wait, stop. We got to record. So yeah, it's called coquito.
This is quality content, guys.
It's called coquito. Actually, I was watching, because 'tis the season for all Christmas things out, even though it's not even Thanksgiving yet. I used to not watch the Christmas movies. I would record them as they started, but they've started so early now. I can't keep them all recorded.
You're gonna have a full DVR.
I have to watch them. So Christmas Cookie Challenge is back on Food Network. So you guys know I love me some Food Network. And this lady who's Puerto Rican, she was making a coquito cookie and she was explaining. Jessica's face definitely went with the sound she just made, by the way. I, on the other hand, am drinking Blackberry Spindrift. Anyway,
I tried that brand for the first time this week because it was on sale at Publix, which is my new grocery store. Shout out to Publix.
Yes, that is your new grocery store.
Yes.
I tried to go to a Publix in Florida just because I kept hearing how cool Publix was for people from people from the South. And I hear Publix is a pretty decent grocery store.
You know what? It's very nice. It reminds me of my Ralph's that we had.
Okay.
So it's, it's a little bit, it's not the cheapest one. The cheapest one in town would be the Piggly Wiggly. That's right. We got
There's
a Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly where you are? Shut your mouth.
You are as excited as my mother is about Piggly Wiggly.
I'm really your mom's other kid, so that works.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. No, she's super excited. Piggly Wiggly's off at 80 and 95.
Listen, that is the most exciting thing I've heard in days.
Yeah.
We're going to the Piggly Wiggly as soon as I get to come visit you.
I haven't been there yet. My dad's been there a bunch, but I have not been there yet.
If you've ever watched Driving Miss Daisy, I've been wanting to go to a Piggly Wiggly ever since I was a kid. Because she always went to the Piggly Wiggly. I just want you to know that I just got a notification on my watch, from my phone, that the voting for The Voice starts soon, and I need to.
We need to take a break. I'm like, you need to take a break. We can. There's important things.
No, don't worry. Even if I haven't watched it yet, I vote for my favorite people because America don't know how to vote sometimes. Like leaving it to America bothers my entire soul sometimes because I'm like, you pick what? So I've learned in the last few seasons, I'm gonna have to vote even if I haven't watched it yet because I record them. Anyway, but back to the coquito really quick. I'm sure that you will love it because it has coconut. It's basically eggnog with like a little more of a Hispanic flair, and there's rum. And from what I saw, you can use dark or light rum, and the coconut part, which are all things that I am like,
not your biggest fans of. Yeah,
I could have a coquito less rum. Like that.
You're like, I'll have it minus the eggnog.
Yeah.
Ma'am, that's just rum. Yes.
That's like it was a joke a long time ago. It's like, can I have a white Russian without the Russian? They're like, that's just milk. I know.
Or a virgin screwdriver is just orange juice.
Orange juice.
That's an old Kathleen Madigan bit, which cracks
Oh
me
wow,
up.
Kathleen Madigan. We're old.
We are, and getting older by the nanosecond.
Yes, we are, and a lot of changes have happened, you guys, since the last show. This is our first show since we were on our hiatus. I hope you guys have checked in, listened to older episodes. I hope that you guys have, been looking forward to this first episode after our break as much as we have. I'm really dramatic today. Ignore me. No, don't ignore me, because then that means you're not going to listen or watch the show. Never mind. Just know that I'm dramatic today. But a lot of changes have happened. Other than the fact, the reason she's at a Piggly Wiggly or near one or going to a Publix is because Jessica and her wonderful husband, John, my hot sauce buddy, has moved to Savannah, Georgia.
Yes, we are in Savannah, Georgia. We've been here a week and 2 days. We took about 5 days to drive across country with our trusty sidekick, Lucky the pup. And
so how did that work, driving 2 cars and having Lucky? Like, did you split time like it was like a who had custody first kind of situation?
That was the original plan, and then we had so much crap that we had to like load my car up to the brim. Like, my car was full. We were able to carve out some space in John's car in the front seat
for Lucky,
where we could attach his harness and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Safety first. But then he's so funny. We had our cars. I'm not exaggerating. We both drive SUVs, kind of like mid-size SUVs. And my car was up to almost the ceiling, except that there was like probably a 6 or 7 inch high gap between where stuff ended in the ceiling, so I could see out my back window. And kind of the same for John, except Lucky decided that he didn't really like his perch in the front seat. He wanted to go up in the attic, as John began calling it, which was that little 6-inch section at the very top of his car. So Lucky just hung out up there. And it was pretty much safe because nothing moved because it was wedged in so tightly. So he was still harnessed in. So it worked out okay. He was happy up there. But yeah, Lucky, we would stop basically once a day. We did 8-hour days across the country. And we stopped about halfway through each day so that we could get some lunch. We could gas up the cars. Lucky could stretch his little legs and eat some lunch and drink some water and off again.
And your parents did this the week prior, before you guys left, right? 2 weeks before you left.
So they left. They left a week before we did. Mm-hmm. A week and like a day or something like that. Because originally we were supposed to leave on the 1st.
Right.
And then again, the theme was that we had too much crap. So we couldn't get, we realized in a panic mode that we were not going to fit it all in the cars. So what happened was, originally my folks didn't think they had that much stuff to take, sense a theme. And so we had set up.
Has your mom met herself?
This was after, oh girl, you don't even know. This was after they had gotten rid of like 2 storage units full of stuff.
Jeez. I'm like, I've known Mama Karen for 20 years. I already know.
This was 40 years of stuff that had just accumulated, right? And so
2 storage units.
2. No exaggeration, 2. So
Jiminy
originally we were supposed to like our stuff from our house, because we were throwing most of our stuff away or donating it or something, that we just weren't going to move it because it was all, we're still operating on hand-me-down furniture and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it wasn't going to survive another move in the first place. Right. And so we thought, okay, we'll just either donate it or trash it. Some of it wasn't really worth saving. And so my dad had set it up to where we were just going to be another stop for the moving truck to come in. And so we'd scheduled it for like the 15th of October, like halfway through the month. Well, come to find out, they had a lot more stuff than they thought they did, of course. And so
Mm.
they ended up taking up a full truck. So we had to split off into our own move instead of being kind of an offshoot of theirs.
Mm.
But they kept the same date. However, they couldn't get a trucker to take our stuff from Brea to Savannah. It's still in Orange County.
Root.
Like our
It's still
furniture
in
is
Orange
still
County.
in Orange
That's right.
County. Yeah, so
Oh my
today is the
gosh.
15th of November. So we've been probably about a month without our furniture. And we will be another week. They're supposed to load it onto the truck on the 17th and then drive it across the country. And fingers crossed, God willing, and the creek don't rise, it will be here on the 23rd, like 2 days before Thanksgiving.
2 days before Thanksgiving.
and my best friend Ashley's flying in on the 23rd, and I'm hoping against hope that we have a bed for her. Otherwise, she's sleeping on the rental couch that we currently have.
Wow.
So my mom and dad, their furniture was going to be delayed too. So they rented a couch thinking, well, we'll just rent a couch so we have a place to sit. And then their furniture has already arrived. Their furniture came like a week ago. And so, but they left their furniture, that rental couch, in our apartment, which is right next door.
Okay.
So it is, let me tell you about this glorious couch.
Is it very comfy?
It is the sexiest pattern you can ever think of. It is like an unholy alliance of autumnal leaves and camouflage.
Please send me a picture of this and then post it when we post this episode, because I'm going to need to see this couch. You hadn't told me about the rental couch.
No, but the funny thing is, like, it's pretty comfortable. Like, it's not bad. It has like the recliner seats that come up. So it's been very nice. But we have a recliner chair as well. And it's way too big for the room because that's a tiny, like, living room space.
Living room is small. Right, because you're temporarily staying in this apartment and while your house is being built. So, audience, like, she didn't move without a plan, y'all. There's a plan. They have a house being built.
We barely have a plan, but we have a plan.
Well, plan enough for your living situation.
Right. But actually, it's really nice. And it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, single story. There's nobody on top of us. We're in the middle. So my folks are on one side of us, and then there's another couple that lives on the other side of us with a 2-car attached garage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we have a 2-car attached garage. So we've got it's a big garage. So there's like some storage in there too. And then we've got these 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, indoor washer, like in the unit, all that kind of stuff. Brand new. Like, we're the first tenants to live in the apartments. The complex is still being built.
Oh, wow.
There are all these individual, like, rows of what look like houses, like really long houses, but it's just, they're like units. 3 or 4 units in each. And then there's walkways in between and lots of grass in a big area. It's really nice. And here's the kicker for all of you Southern California natives. You want to guess how much we are paying in rent right now?
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please. With the dog rent and the $50 a month, what is that? Water, gas, water utilities thing.
Situation.
Trash, all that kind of stuff. $1,710 a month.
That's fantastic for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Yeah. Come on. Can't get better than that.
Yeah. And then my mom and dad and I we're sharing internet because we're so close that we can. So we're sharing a Wi-Fi connection. So we're splitting that cost. And then our electrical, it's a little apartment. It's not that expensive. We haven't gotten our first bill yet, but it can't be what ours.
It's not like the air conditioning's on right now. So that's, that's good.
Yeah. So,
although California it's been
hot out there.
It's been like
100 degrees.
So the week before you left, it was like we had all 4 seasons in 1 week. Like it stormed that Monday. It was like 80 something, 90. Yeah, because I think that was the week we went to our alumni dinner.
Spirit of Hope. Yeah,
Spirit of Hope. So then the following week it was like it's chilly. I actually, for those of you who have not listened to the show and this is your first time or just don't know me personally, I am always hot. I mean, always. Like,
And then and then her temperature's hot too.
Well,
But
no. So because parents are not allowed on campus right now.
right.
And so on most Fridays, or when my boss decides like he wants to take time off, I'm administration for that day. So part of being administration in the COVID times is that I have to not stand because of my knee, but I sit at the gate with sign out sheets and deal with sign outs and behavior because I have to talk to the parents at the gate. Like I can't so Jelani has been my coworker for the whole time I've worked at Loyola, 5-6 years, right? I had on a hoodie with the hood on, tied up.
Okay.
Even if I have on a hoodie, I generally don't put my hood on. My hair was just done 2 days prior, and I was sitting there going like I was freezing. So much so that the following week I was like, I'm gonna be warm every single day. Like I was contemplating like thermal leggings. That's how cold it was. I'm like, I'm gonna have to wear this on Fridays. Then like a day later, it was 90. I was like, what is happening, California?
Go home, California. You're drunk.
Right. But I always tell people who are not from here, I'm like, we have bipolar weather. We've always had bipolar weather.
Yeah.
We believe in seasons. We just don't always have them properly.
We get them all in like
we get them all because it could be 100 on Christmas. You'll never know what's going to happen. Yeah. I think it's going to be 80, 75, 80 on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
Well, because the weird thing about California is it's Santa Ana season. So it'll be cold and windy and blustery. And then the day after the Santa Ana's end, it's always stinking hot because that ushers in all that hot air.
Absolutely.
So it's always fun to get that right around Christmas and Thanksgiving because everyone else is like, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Right. And we're like,
we're wearing bathing suits.
Holy cow.
we're wearing bathing suits and grilling.
Right.
For Christmas and
grilled turkey.
Right. Although my uncle, rest in please. Okay.
What's in that glass? It's not
It's literally Spindrift, guys. We've had some very interesting fried turkey situations. Speaking of Thanksgiving coming up, my Uncle Larry and my Uncle Leon, they like trinkets, they like toys. My mother likes gadgets too. She just thinks that they like them more than her when it's not true. Our whole family is into gadgets except for my grandmother.
Gadgets are the best.
Doesn't know how to work any of that. So one year, the turkey kind of blew up. We had all our sides done, like some stuff had burnt in the oven, but my Uncle Larry blew up. We were in the garage of his old house in Orange. And it was the old you know the house, the house in Orange. So remember the garage was on the side of the house, kind of, right? So told y'all we've known each other a long time. And I don't know what happened. They had been going back and forth about the temperature and some other things. Next thing I know, we were trying to drive to Ralph's to see if we could find some kind of protein for Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. And then we ended up giving a lot of the sides to the homeless because I think we ended up having like a El Pollo Loco type Thanksgiving here. If my family, we do things. I mean, we do all holidays up. Like my sister Jen that we talked about, and you guys saw her on the first episode of the season. First time I brought her home for Thanksgiving, that's how she ended up being my sister. She called her mom and was like, they had a buffet. And I was like, I had never experienced holidays any other way. So I didn't know that people didn't have 5 different types of protein, 17,000 side dishes, and at least 5 desserts. I didn't know people lived like that.
Why wouldn't you?
I didn't know that. So she was like, we would only have like a turkey. We don't have turkey and ham. It was a turkey. I think she said like green bean casserole, you know, some stuffing and a pumpkin pie. I was like, girl, what kind of holidays? No. My family, we always have some form of a tri-tip brisket prime rib situation or a tomahawk steak because we've done that the last couple years. Yeah. And turkey, ham, shrimp, you name it, we have it. Mac and cheese, mashed potatoes. and my mother is the only one they want to make mac and cheese. Although I think
Your mom's mac and cheese is so
she's
good.
gonna let Zoe make it this year because she's like, I'm tired. But the kids all fight. I don't know. We discussed this on the show. I don't eat my mom's mac and cheese. Everybody loves it. I don't eat it, but it smells great. I do cheeseless mac and cheese. I take noodles out before she tosses all the cheesiness stuff in with salt and pepper and butter. And it's amazing to me, but that's just, I like noodles. Anyway, I'm weird that way. So they all fight over the corners of the mac and cheese because
that's the crunchy bits.
So they all do that. This year, I think we're trying a charcuterie Thanksgiving. We're going to do a bunch of charcuterie trays. So I called Jen. She's like, oh my God, we should have themes. This girl is trying to plan a Maleficent theme board. Jen
Speaking of Publix, our discussion earlier, Publix has a dessert charcuterie.
Oh, really?
Char-sweetery, they called it.
That's extremely corny and adorable. I love that on so many levels. So now Jen and I have just been sending each other pictures of, oh, that's so cute.
Right?
We've been sending each other pictures of charcuterie trays for days now because now she's super hype. I found a chicken wing charcuterie board. I saw, because it came from, I had jokingly was I had seen somebody on TikTok was they had a charcuterie party. And this one guy, he went to McDonald's. He got a bunch of Big Macs, some chicken nuggets, and some fries. He made a board like that. Yes. And this one lady, she had a bunch of different empanadas. And another guy came in. He had a tray of beers, just all kinds of beers. Then this other lady, she had a Creole board, had shrimp and jambalaya and things like that on it. So everybody brought something different. A couple people had the traditional charcuterie trays and things like that. Oh, somebody did a chicken and waffles tray. So I was like, oh, it'd be cool to do that. And so we've been trying to do Thanksgiving different since my uncle passed because Uncle Larry was Thanksgiving and Uncle Leon's house is Christmas. That's what it was. So now we do both. And Thanksgiving's still kind of hard for my uncle, the twin that's still living. So we do different things. Last year it was Joy's birthday because my birthday was the next day. So it was all my favorite foods, because I was like, why not? I had a cake
plus macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, they ate that. That was not mine. I had everything else.
You pulled the noodles.
I made ceviche. I made fried corn.
I remember that.
I love my fried corn. It's so good. So I made a dump cake, and I made a pineapple upside down cake for the first time, and I had never made one. I was kind of testing the waters. It was really good.
I love a good pineapple upside down cake.
Add some extra. I know a good pineapple upside down cake is. There's something about it. If you mess up an upside down cake, I tasted somebody's upside down cake and it tastes like cornbread and pineapples, and I was like, what happened here? I'm not understanding the balance of the chemical, the bake. You didn't put something because. No cake should taste like cornbread. I mean, cornbread can be sweet, but no cake should taste like cornbread.
Apparently not in the South. They can't. You will get cut for it. I've been told. You cannot have sweet cornbread.
In the South, it's going to have, yes, that's a different one. So when we go home to Louisiana and Texas and stuff, they don't do sweet cornbread.
No.
Not at all.
We went to Cracker Barrel for the first time. I had been before. John had never been to Cracker Barrel.
Did you get pancakes? Because they're the best.
No, we were there for lunch. We went after church yesterday. And John had fried chicken, and I had chicken and dumplings, which is one of my favorite things.
I love chicken and dumplings.
Oh my gosh, chicken and dumplings.
I love it. My grandmother on my father's side used to make the best. She would use the Lipton soup mix in it too. So good. I really want her recipe of chicken and dumplings because it was so good. My mother's like, how can you just eat dough and chicken?
You want the Lord hath shone upon it.
I'm like, it's amazing.
And it makes, oh my gosh. I'm like, it's a good thing.
How is their chicken and dumplings? I've never had it. My dad likes their chicken and dumplings. I haven't had it because he loves Cracker Barrel because they have have them all over.
Yeah, they don't even pretend. They don't even sometimes you'll see chicken and dumplings that has carrots and potato and peas and vegetables, and they're like, no, we don't even play with that. It's just chicken and dumplings and
the gravy sauciness. I feel like peas should stop being in certain dishes. I hate chicken noodle soup with peas. Why put peas? We don't need the peas. I don't understand fried rice with peas. Like, I've never seen an actual Chinese person make Chinese shrimp fried rice with peas. Like, why? Where do we get the pea
Is
thing
that
from?
even like a traditional Chinese thing, or is it like an American
So,
Chinese thing?
I think it's an American Chinese thing. What I found out, because there's this place near my job called Wacky Walk. They said that their Chinese food is New York style Chinese. And what happened, the guy was saying that the different cultures when they came to the US, and a lot of like Japanese and Chinese and different people, because there's a version of fried rice in every Asian culture, even though, even if it's not Chinese. So he was telling us, the owner of the place, he was like, if you go to San Francisco, you're going to taste it differently there. When you go to New York, it's going to be different there. So there's this more New York style. They don't put peas in theirs, but there's a lot of egg. I'll be like, light egg, please. And I'll try to eat around it. Like, I have issues, y'all, and it's okay. I am okay with myself. I know myself. I love me for me. I just told Jessica earlier with the whole eggnog thing. She was like, as soon as I said what it was, I knew you were going to be like, bleh. My thing is, I appreciate that she knows this and she still loves me. I heard people in my life when I'm like, I don't like something. Oh, you should still try it, including my mother. Oh, it's not that much egg. Ma'am, you've known me for almost 40 years.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to attempt. Like yesterday, we went to Hop Dottie. I said, no cheese on my burger. Hop Dottie's a burger spot. You specialize in burgers. You can make a good burger without cheese. I don't care what any of you people say. And then they slather it in white American cheese. I mean, I was like, God diggity dog. I texted Jessica. I was like, damn, no. First, they brought the burger out and the cow was still mooing. Like, it don't have to be, brown on the inside, but I don't need it to be like you just flash fried it on the skillet. Like, I don't want to hear
I'm
the
like,
cow.
hit me. Yeah.
I know. I'm just like, that's too red. It wasn't even pink. It was red. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay. Then they bring the burger back and then it's slathered in all this. Melted cheese is a pretty sight. I just don't want it. So then I text Jessica, I'm like, well, I'm still at the restaurant. My mother and my grandmother are almost finished, and I haven't even started my food yet. I ate all my fries before my birthday came because I had ordered barbecue seasoned fries because they were really good. They put barbecue, like the dry rub you put on barbecue, they put it on the fries and they toss it in a bowl, and it was quite delicious. And the burger was called Stacy's Mom. I just thought I should share that with you. For those of you who don't know the old school, Stacy's Mom has got it going on. It's an old song from back in the day. And the fact that it was called that and it was a brisket burger. Let me tell you, if somebody under the age of 30 heard this episode, they wouldn't know what no Stacy's Mom was, okay? You feel older.
Geriatric self.
Well, if you figure, if we get pregnant at some point, we would be called Geriatric Pregnancies.
My coworker
when I
just had a baby.
I almost cried.
My coworker just had a baby and she's our age and her first. And she was like, they called me a geriatric pregnancy. She was all offended. And I was like,
listen, somebody like 2 years ago had posted it on Facebook and they're a couple years younger than us. And I'm like, what? I'm saying, I take that back. We're the same age. We went to high school together. So she turned 40 this year. So it was her first pregnancy. She was, I think, 38, 39. And she was like, and she's a chunky girl too. So they were like geriatric, obese. I'm like, why are they using these words? Like,
they're hurtful.
Do you not realize your words are hurtful, doctor? Like,
this is a miracle.
And so another girl had commented on the same post and was like, yeah, I was 33 and they said that I was a geriatric. 33 and you're a geriatric pregnancy?
It's supposed to be 35. 35 is the cutoff. When we were doing all of our fertility stuff, they were like, yeah, you're an advanced age. They didn't say geriatric because I was on hormones. They probably were
advanced age, the other new thing. Don't call me advanced age. I don't appreciate it. Mind you, I don't care that I'm older. It's just some of the words. Put some respect on my name, all right?
When we were first like investigating the fertility stuff, we'd gone 6 months and we weren't having any success. And so, you know, they always say when you're at a certain age that you should not wait a full year, you should wait 6 months. And so I was 30. How old was I? Carry the one. So I was I was like 34, I think, when we first like started trying. And so almost 34. And we'd been going, you know, we'd had some challenges and health challenges with John when we first got married. And so we had waited a little while after we got married. And then we were like, okay, we've been going 6 months. We're not trying to do anything to stop it. So we're not having any success either. So we go to this fertility doctor just down the street. And he does. It's when you step into the world of fertility, it is a whole glorious, like,
picking at your faults.
Indignities, just the indignities piled up. Like the amount of people who have seen my lady business is more than I ever thought possible. And so, like, so I had to have an ultrasound done, and it was an internal ultrasound.
Oh, I hate that.
Right, super fun.
I've had a few because of my fibroids.
Yeah. So, like, you know, you're doing the thing, and it's just poor John. The first time they did this, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's like a pap smear. I've had one of those, like, no big deal. They're trying to be like, okay, do this. It's fine.
I can do this.
Yeah. And he's in there, and I look at his face, and he was just like, his
mortified.
eyes got real wide. And I was like, welcome to the show. And but the doctor gets in there, and he's got the little wand, and he's all inside, and he's like, he gets done.
How was that again?
It's like a lightsaber, but not as much fun and less burning.
I'm laughing way too much on this episode. I did not think we were going to be this funny. Continue.
So afterwards, you know, I like de-goop and I've got my pants on and everything. And he's sitting there and he's like, okay, well, I'm looking at it. And he goes, well, I think I was 30. Yeah, I was like 34. And he's like, well, your ovaries are 37. And I was like,
no.
Can you determine how old my ovaries are?
What? You're like, the math is not mathing right now.
I was like, how are my ovaries older than the rest of me? Like, and then
did
he goes,
do something to them? Like,
I was like, they've been in me since I had them. Like, I didn't like buy different ones. So then he's like, he had me do all this other stuff. And it was like, he put us on this inflammation diet, which was essentially no carbs, except you could eat all the beans you wanted.
That's a serious
He put
day.
John and I both on it.
Oh, wow.
And it was the most miserable 2 weeks before we just went, oh, heck no. We are not doing this. You know, and ultimately it wouldn't have mattered anyway because we found, you know, our issue was not inflammation. And so, so subsequently I've been on somehow I was on TikTok. There was this like gynecologist on TikTok and she made some kind of thing. And I was like, she's like, what's the craziest thing a doctor's told you? And I was like, well, a gynecologist fertility doctor told me that my ovaries were 3 years older than the rest of me. And she was like, how did he determine they were older?
Yeah, I'm like, what is the science and the math behind that? Like, how does that work?
Is it a texture thing? Like,
were they a little darker? Like, what is
were they wrinklier?
I get it if you were like a smoker and they were looking at your lungs and it's like, oh, you're 30 with the lungs of a 47-year-old, but you've smoked a pack every day since you were 15. Like, that makes sense. But
I don't even know how my ovaries would get a hold of the nicotine. That's going to be the pull quote from this episode.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I hope you guys are having fun with us because we are tickled at each other right now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that is hilarious. I've never had that one, although my doctor did call me today.
Oh, yeah?
And I didn't recognize the number at first. And the first thing he says was, who hurt you? And I was like,
oh, so you got to share your exciting Friday. Like,
oh, okay. So before I get to the story of the doctor, I guess I have to
a little bit of context.
I was like, it threw me off, and I could tell it was a white man, and I was like, I don't know. I could tell that, but I could. Anyway, it didn't even sound like him at first. Okay, so rewind. So
Whew.
as Jessica was settling in her lovely home in Georgia, I was on my way to work Friday. My boss was actually going to be out of town because we had Thursday off. It was Veterans Day.
Mhm.
Thank you for your service, veterans, if you're listening. I may not always understand the things of militariness, but I feel like they should still be more appreciated than they are, especially once they're vets and they come home. But that's another story for another day.
Right.
That could be a whole episode. And so my boss went to Vegas for, his holiday or whatever. And he asked my permission to go off of, I have my fingers in air quotes, by the way, guys, if you're just listening and not watching.
She had a whole face.
Yeah. So he asked my permission to miss Friday. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I need to work with the kids on the Thanksgiving show, but I have to be at the gate the whole time because he will not be there. And also being at the gate means you have to deal with teachers calling you on the walkie about kids and, conversations with parents. Like Tuesday and Wednesday, we had a list of parents to talk to by 5:30. It was bad. Like this one dad, I felt bad for him because literally every day he had picked up his kid, he was like, what did he do now? So anyway, I had the keys for the office. I had everything with me, right? So I don't always drive to work. I didn't drive that day because we were going to go to a prayer night after church for my church in Culver City after. So it didn't make sense for me to drive to work, then come all the way back to my house and
Right.
which my job is by the airport, come all the way back to my house, pick up mom, and then go to Culver City. It didn't make sense. So she was just going to come pick me up. So, because right now we share a vehicle. I used to be embarrassed about that kind of thing, but whatever. People share cars. It is what it is. I'll get to that in a second. So I didn't drive Friday. I was taking an Uber. I was trying to go a little bit early so I could make sure I had all the schedules for the staff and all that. So we get about not even 10 minutes from my house. We were on Slauson and La Brea. I live on Slauson, a little bit past Crenshaw, for those of you who may live in California and in LA. I was down the street. We're at a stoplight. And I told my doctor and my mom today, I was like, I felt like I heard the crash before I felt the crash. I heard a sound. Next thing I know, I'm like, what just happened? We were in a car accident. We were at a stoplight, and this lady just kind of ran into us. As hard as the impact was, the guy's Uber, his car was not damaged at all. Like there was no dents, there was nothing. He hurt
what kind of
his
car
neck
did he drive?
It was a Honda. We were in a Honda. No, Toyota Camry.
Dang.
No, Honda. We were in a Honda. We're in a Honda.
Honda Accord, probably.
Yes. Yeah, we were in a Honda Accord.
Okay.
And
shout out to Honda.
Right. His car was not damaged at all. She was in a Honda CRV. So her license plate was bent, but nothing else was really going on. So I'm in shock. I call my mom. I'm like, I just got into a car accident. And she's like, what? Like, what do you mean you just got in a car accident? And I was like, we were at a stoplight on Slauson and La Brea, and a lady hit us. She is hysterical. Like, the lady's crying. She's at the window, pleading and is calling on Jesus, which my mom was like, let's try and use some discernment. What do you feel? Is she playing? Is she playing, y'all? What's the case? Mind you, out of all this crying and calling on the Lord, she never told us her name. She never gave us any information. I'm glad that the driver had the mindset to take a picture of her license plate, because that's all we have to go on. Because she's begging me to be okay. Well, at that moment, I didn't know what I felt. I felt a little pain in my neck, and I was like, maybe because I did I was in the back seat, so it would hurt me more. His head hit the headrest, so he had to go get checked out too. He was more concerned about me. Very nice gentleman. Carlos, shout out. You were so awesome and so kind to me, and I really appreciate that. He really was. He was like, do you want me to take you back home? Do you want to call your job and tell them you're going to be late? What do you want to do?
Right.
And I was like, before I go anywhere, I have to get the keys to coworkers because my boss is gone. I'm the boss today. And he was like, oh no, So we actually stop at 7-Eleven and get some water and I get to the school. Well, going back a little bit, she's like pleading with us, don't call the police. She's hollering about how she doesn't have any money and hollering about how she doesn't have insurance. And I did genuinely feel for her. But at the end of the day, you're begging me to be okay when I'm like telling you, like, I don't think I'm okay because I felt pain, but I didn't know exactly where.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? So my mom's talking to me and I was like, you know what? I think I'll be okay. Well, when I got out the car, I was not okay. Like, we stopped at 7-Eleven because it was like, get some water or something. So I went and got some water. And I went to 7-Eleven. So I used my right hand for the cane mostly because my left knee is injured from the torn meniscus from work. And so I'm using the cane and I'm like, oh, everything over here from my neck, the right side of my back, my right hip, all down my thigh, and my knee on my right side are now hurting. And I'm like, Lord, not again. Like I'm
Right.
just thinking like, oh, come on. So he was on the phone with Uber and I told him, I was like, I'm going to have to go get checked out at the hospital. Because I think I texted you like right before that.
Yeah.
And I knew you and mom were both going to be like, you need to get checked out just even for further.
Right.
If we need, if you don't feel it now. Because I genuinely was in shock. Like I couldn't even imagine. And so I get to the school. I open up the classroom. I, call the coworker that I'm going to have to leave in charge because I'm like, Jelani, I was just in an accident. Blah, blah, blah. He was like, Joy, go to the hospital. I got it. I was like, well, I have to bring you the keys and I need to print out the schedule for the day. And he was like, okay, well, I'm going to be there. I was like, you can't be late to work though today. Like, I need you to like be on time. So I called my mom back and I was like, Mom, I think I need to go to the hospital. And she's like, okay, I'm going to clock out of work. I'm going to tell my daughter got an accident and I'm going to come pick you up from the school and we're going to go to Cedar Marina Del Rey. So Marina Del Rey Hospital is now owned by Cedars-Sinai. So now it's called Cedars Marina. Great ER, great staff, always get you in and out, and they're very thorough. So I generally like to go there if I'm going to go. So I explain to my staff what's going on. I tell them instructions because y'all know that I'm panicking like I need to be here. My boss isn't here. He's in Vegas. There's no way he can like get here. I call my boss after I fill in the team. I call my boss and I'm like, so he's like, go to the hospital right now. Like, don't worry about work. They'll handle it. Just go to the hospital. So I went to the ER. Thankfully, there was no broken bones or anything like that. So I have a right hip contusion, which is an extremely bruised hip. I have a right knee contusion, which is an extremely bruised knee. Neck and back strain. So all of this here, for those who are watching, so like that's only, and everything is mainly on the right side. The back is kind of like the middle to the right. So they took me off of work until today because we're recording on a Monday. Normally we record on Fridays. So I'm off of work until today and then I go back tomorrow, which I'm like, I'm going to have to take it super easy when I go back because walking is, I felt better today more than the other days. One of the concerns of the doctor was because I have fibromyalgia, they're like, this is going to impact you very badly because of that. And so my doctor calls today and he's like, who hurt you? And I'm like, I looked at the phone like, hello? He was like, it's Dr. S. Joy. And I was like, oh, hi. I forgot the hospital emailed you because every time I go to the ER, they email my primary. So he's like, I get a notification that you got in an accident. You were in an Uber. Like, what happened? So I'm like telling my doctor. When I tell you guys, I love my doctor. I love him. He acts like he's one of my best friends. Like we talk when we go to, like when we were having in-person appointments, we would talk. Like when I was going through like breakups and stuff and he could tell like I wasn't okay and I was crying, like we would literally sit there and he would cry with me and hold my hand. Like he's the coolest. His wife is awesome. They have the cutest little girl ever. Like just the coolest. Like, we talk like transparent, honest all the time. Like, he's like, you can tell me the stuff that you don't want to tell your family. I'm not a therapist, but I went through counseling training. We can talk. Like, that's what, that's how we are. I was truly blessed when I got him because my doctors beforehand weren't taking care of me as well. If there's something that I need that he can't do, he immediately gets me to someone who can. So he
Worth your
can't,
weight in gold, man.
I mean, seriously, like, I was extremely blessed with him. And now he's the medical director for the group of the hospital where we are. So he doesn't see as many patients, but he's like, I always like make sure Joy is on my schedule. And he knows, like, if I have to talk to an intern, I'm like, I don't like the residents. Like,
Right.
I'm nicer now to the residents. I didn't used to be because they have to do their training or whatever. But usually they confer with him because he'll tell them, they'll walk in and say, Dr. S said that you normally like to only talk to him, but do you mind if I see you today? And I'm like, okay, I won't be mean. I'll do it. So, but so I talked to him about the accident and everything. He was like, I am so sorry. He was like, you were in an Uber. You weren't driving. I was like, no, I wasn't driving. I was in an Uber. And we were taking a way that I normally wouldn't have driven that way to work that day. Anyway, I would have driven the other way. So I was just like, Lord, what is this? Like,
Right.
so as we sit here recording, I'm sitting on a pillow. I have a pillow behind me because I was feeling a little bit earlier. And then we were watching the finale of Married at First Sight because I have a problem with that show. And I needed to know what was going to happen. Anyway, my hip and stuff started to hurt a little bit. And I just kind of just I've been icing off and on. So yeah, that's my only update. I didn't move, but I got an accident.
That's enough. Usually the third day after an accident is the worst one anyway.
Yeah, that's what
Which
it's
would have been
funny
today.
because the doctor said, oh, tomorrow will be the worst day. My aunt, Rebecca, who, she is the Googler, she's the Google doctor in the family. She's like, but when she had her accident, she was like, my second day was the worst. Like the third day for her. So like, she was like, oh, you'll be fine by Monday. But it's Monday. I'm okay, but I'm not great.
Yeah.
And what my doctor was telling me, he's like, because he's like, though we're grateful you didn't break bones, sometimes it's worse when it's muscle straining because that body, that impact, like he said, didn't break your bones, but it impacted and sent a shock through your entire body, which is causing the pain in the muscles and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? Just gotta tell you, I was super emotional the day it happened. I was like sitting on my bed, like watching Christmas movies and trying to lay down because they had given me Toradol at the hospital. And I was just kind of like, it was something I said, and Jessica was like, God's not punishing you. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. And I was like, I know. I'm just like, God, why? Like, I wasn't okay. Like, I had a really emotional moment. But the next day I was like, you know what, Lord? Greater is coming. Like, that's what we're in some deadlines on some things right now. And I'm like, you know what? This is the enemy's way of saying maybe you should back off a little bit. Maybe you should blah, blah, blah. Nah, not this time, bro. Like, it's not going down like that. In the past, I would have been like, yeah, maybe I should just like, maybe not, and blah, blah, blah. No, I feel like though I'm in pain and though this is like stupid and I am still in shock that this has happened, we never know why. And so I just believe greater is coming, even though, this could have all just been a distraction from the enemy to get me off focus. And it tried to have its way and its moment for a moment. But I have wonderful people in my life, from Jessica and my mother, who are like, we're not going to think that way. No. we're not going to think that way. Not at all. So praise
Medication
God, it wasn't
talks.
worse. Yes, it does. Like I said, praise God, it wasn't worse. Praise God, and I felt bad because she's like, the Lord is going to bless you. Thank you so much. But I didn't realize until we got to 7-Eleven that she hadn't even given us her name. And the Uber guy, I was like, I hope he's okay. Because he's like, I've been driving for Uber for 5 years and I've never had an accident. And so he was just like, not sure what to do and all this other stuff. And so today I was, Uber had their insurance people call me and they had to find out if I was injured so that they can write up the correct claim. And the lady I talked to was very kind. And, I appreciate kindness. I appreciate people who come into a situation, no matter what it is, being genuine. Like, I didn't feel like she was like, okay, well, I'm your person. And because sometimes in those kind of fields, you get dismissive people. They don't really hear you. And that was good. And she's like, here's my number. Here's my email. This is your case. Like, she texted me after everything had happened, and she wanted to get my account of what happened and things like that. And, it's an interesting experience, but who knows what's going to happen. And I do hope that the lady is okay. But one thing that kind of threw me after she's like begging for us not to call the cops and, talking about, the Lord, and she may be a Christian. I don't know. I'm not judging that at all. When she said what she was doing, when she hit us, she was looking for her cell phone. So she wasn't paying attention. She said to both of us, to him and to myself, she's like, and she was crying. And I felt I may be a little rough around the edges sometimes, but I do have a big heart and I have a heart for people. And I don't want, you are making this face at me. I can be a little rough around the edges sometimes, but I try to be nice. I try my best to be kind. And so I felt bad for her, truly.
Right.
But then after I realized pain-wise what I was going through, I can't not report that, So no. I was conflicted about it, but
no.
You just gotta,
because the fact of the matter is, she was at fault. She would have been at fault if she'd hit you regardless, because she rear-ended you, and that's her fault.
Right. Because that's the thing they were asking, like, was the light green? I was like, no, the light was red. Like, it was a red light.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you have a lot of mitigating circumstances with your other injuries, and it's important to get checked out. That's why I was like, you need to go, because even if you were fine, even if you had ended up being fine, at least then you would have had something, because you have all these other issues that are going on between the fibromyalgia and your workers' comp stuff and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Pelvis strain. So that was fun. I was like, oh.
Yeah. But, and, you're right. And I know from having been in a couple of accidents that you don't know, because you've got adrenaline that's hitting you.
Right.
That stays in your system for a long time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you don't
because right then and there I was like, oh, my neck is kind of like, but it wasn't like, but when I stood up, that's when I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hurting, and so I pray it gets resolved in a correct manner. It seems like Uber is on it, and
my dad used to drive for Uber for a while, and they carry special insurance on top of your insurance. So
so we'll see what happens. I pray that she's okay. But, and then I just remembered today what she said. Like, she literally said to us, she was looking down, looking for her phone, like it had slipped or something. And so she wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And I was just like, And
don't
she looked
text
like
and
one
drive,
of my aunties.
and I was like,
text and drive. For real.
It's
like, if I actually have to text somebody, I'll usually pull over if I need to actually text, or I'll try to voice text. If it's something like that, I try to. Because texting and driving really is it's bad. Sometimes driving is bad. So you just gotta.
Right. Well, it was so on the drive across country. We were driving 8-hour days, and I've got a little 4-cylinder car. We weren't sure I was going to make it over the hills and stuff like that. So we were just trying to stay as close as we could to one another in the two cars.
Right.
And I had set up Android Auto in my car, and I don't usually use it. I don't have like the fancy screen in the front of my car because my car is old, but I have the phone, and it'll do the Android Auto on the phone. And it was great because it would read out my text messages. If John messaged me, because he has voice texting in his car. Or if like my mom was messaging me and asking a question about something, I could message her back that way.
Right.
So voice text when you can, because not only do you get to communicate, but sometimes the voice transcription is way wrong, and it's a heck of a lot of fun.
Right. I've had many voice texts that people have come back and said, what? Did you mean to say? Or my mom is good for read that again. Like
There will be times when you'll send like kind of a lengthy
yeah,
text, and I'll read through it and be like, what? And then I realize, oh, she's voice texting.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I was like,
It's,
because either you're
especially
drunk
now, right?
or
Especially now, like if I'm at work, I don't always have my phone looking at my phone, like I'm talking to my watch.
yeah.
So it's oh my gosh, the funniest thing. Someone called me. I think one of the teachers called me because they couldn't hear me on the walkie-talkie or something, and I push answer on the phone, and the kids were like, "Miss Joy, are you a spy?" I was
Yes.
like,
Yes, I am.
"What?" And I realized because I was talking like this to the watch, and they were like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, so
Yes, I am. So all you kids better shape up because she's a spy, right?
honey, that wasn't as bad as the shock and appall that they had that I knew what TikTok was and that I had a TikTok. And one of my third graders, no, second grade, she was like, Miss Joy, you have a TikTok? I was like, yeah. I didn't know that adults had that. And I was like, what? Then I think I posted this one on Facebook. So like last week or something, we were doing something. It was a heck of a day. And we were doing our Thanksgiving trees, our thankful trees. So on the leaves, all the kids will write something that they're thankful for. Usually they're like, Miss Joy, can you spell God? Can you, whatever? Because I can't tell them to be thankful for Jesus and God, but they can do it. If they want me to spell it, I'm going to spell Jesus for you. That's not going to be a problem.
Amen.
It's your paper. I'm going to let you do it because I can't say it, but you can. And so one little boy was like, I'm thankful for Megan knees. And I was like,
For what?
so on TikTok, first of all, it's Megan the Stallion.
Oh, yeah.
So on TikTok, they had
knees.
that
Okay.
that trend where people would do the bump, no friends, and they would try and see how low they can go. He was like, well, I'm thankful for my Megan knees. Sir, first of all, he was like, I'm just waiting with Joy. Wait, you know what Megan knees are? I am not that old, people.
Yeah.
Although they like to tell me how much younger their parents are than me. So, Miss Joy, my mom's only 34. Okay, and my mom was 29. For real? Okay, that's nice. I've seen great grandparents that are like 5 years older than me at this point. So I will never forget, honestly, my first year teaching at Loyola. I lied to you not. One of my kindergartners who was a hellion, that's another story for another day. One of my kindergartners, his mother was like, oh, Miss Joy, my grandmother is coming in town from Oklahoma and she's going to pick him up on Friday. I said, okay, no problem. I was like, wow, his great grandmother, exciting. Honey, when she walks on that campus, she had the Farrah Fawcett silver hair, but she had the Farrah Fawcett hair, it was fly too. Had her makeup on, her nails. I looked at this lady. She was at least my mother's age, for real. At that time, my mama was not even 60 yet. So
Yeah.
I was like, you're his great grandmother? She said, yes, ma'am. I was like, wow.
I know.
My
We have a friend of ours from college. So there's a friend of ours from college who just posted her daughter's senior graduation photos.
Oh, wow.
And I'm
who was that? I didn't see that.
Tal.
Really?
Yeah. Her oldest is graduating high school this year.
I was struggling with Yona's baby being 7. Jeez.
Right. So I'm like, and then Brandy, her kids are all grown. And I'm just like,
yes, I have to. I just talked to Brandy. I'm like, I have to go to Seattle to visit her because it's easier for me to, as a single person, to travel to her than her bringing all the kids to see me. Although I hope she makes it to the party on the 4th because I would love to see her. Brandy is one of she's my other, we've been friends for 20 something years. I was in her first wedding. I was supposed to go to the second one, but I ended up not being able to make it because I had an Esther commitment. I wasn't gonna be able to fly out from the engagement in time. It was anyway. But Brandy is hilarious, and she has the funniest 4 kids that you would ever want to.
But I'm like, how are these kids this grown?
Oh yeah, because JJ is a senior this year. Yeah. Well, one of my kids. So remember when I first left college, I worked at a preschool. One of my 2-year-olds, whose mom is on my Facebook friend, is a senior this year. And I was like, I have a student that's going to graduate from high school. Like, what? Like,
Oh, it's even better. Some of my piano students that I had, I'm trying to remember if I was even married yet. This was like late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
They have now, the youngest one is married and like getting her like master's degree and like all this stuff. And I'm like, a couple of my kids from my first ministry married with babies. And I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Big nope.
One of my high school classmates, who was one of my grandmother's students, for those of you who don't know, my grandmother was an elementary school teacher for my whole life. She retired about 15 years ago now. So this girl was in her 5th grade class, and then we went to high school together. She didn't know that was my grandmother until we were going to prom, because we were all in the same limo together. And she gets out the car and she's like, Miss Matoyer, like the whole thing. Anyway, she has a grandkid. She just had her first grandbaby. We're the same age.
I cannot wrap my mind.
Jessica is speechless at this very moment.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's not even a month old, but she has a grandbaby now. And I was like, for real, it's like our first classmate to have a grandkid. Like, wow, so many. And so I told my grandmother, I said, one of your students who was a friend of mine in high school just had a grandbaby. She was like, who? And I showed her Jasmine's picture. And she's like, oh my gosh, I remember her. And yeah, she just had a grandbaby.
Meanwhile, we're like, we have a podcast.
Go us.
Oh, yay.
Okay, my cheeks hurt. That was funny.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh gosh, I hope you guys are so entertained today, because I really am. I don't.
But if you're not, we are.
We totally are.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. It's so much. It's funny because, and so Saturday if I wasn't recuperating, I was supposed to go to my aunt and uncle's house to get acquainted again with my doggy cousins, because I'm going to be babysitting them next weekend. And so my uncle was like, well, we'll figure it out. All you have to do is bring Dempsey some cold cuts, and then he'll go, oh, that's Joy. I remember her. We're good. Because Dempsey loves me, but he gets a little excited at first, and he's like, who are you coming up in my house? And then he's like, oh. So my uncle's like, just because they're leaving on Friday and I have to work Friday, so I wouldn't get to the house until after they left. So they have to feed them and everything before they leave. So I'm like, you're not going to be there, and I'm just going to walk in on Dempsey? Nope. I'm going to make it to Orange County before y'all leave, because I can't. Like I said, Phoebe, she don't care. She just likes to be fat and walk around. Dempsey,
don't we all?
He's like, who is this? But when he realizes usually who I am, he's like, oh yeah, that's my homegirl. And then he sleeps this close to me. So imagine having a ginormous king-size bed, but you can't spread out because you have a ginormous dog.
King-size dog.
He is a very king-size dog who likes to sit on my lap and doesn't remember that he's not a lap dog. Like,
oh no, he's a lap dog. You're just different definitions of lap.
He looks like I forgot what kind of dog he is. I'm trying to give you guys an image beefy. Of how big. He's a very big dog. Like, if you looked at him, he looked like a buff man. Like,
he's like part Rottweiler, isn't he?
He's part something. I think part bull.
Okay, yeah.
Part something. It's like a Saint Bernardi type situation, and I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Phoebe
it's an unholy matrimony between.
I forgot what Phoebe is. She's not a pit bull. She's a bulldog. No. Yes, she's a bulldog, but she's little.
They're built like
Her legs are this big because she eats everything.
She's a low rider.
For real. Although I found that the last time I dog sat, she does not like cilantro. She'll eat everything else I drop on the floor, but she does not like. She tasted it, she put it in her mouth, and then she gently put it back down like, nah, I'm good.
Gently put it back down for me to suction. No, thank you.
She's like, not for me. That and carrots. It's like she's allergic to vegetables. She's not. She just doesn't want them.
Honestly, same.
And she literally begs for all your food. Like Dempsey, he's like, if you give me food, cool. If not, you just fed me my kibble. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? She will eat her bowl of dog food, go and see if he left any dog food left, and then follow me around to see what I'm eating. First of all, ma'am, go sit down somewhere. Because like I'll be cooking and she stands at my foot. Like I'm like, I'm going to step on you. Move, girl. And if she tries to get on the bed with us, Dempsey gets an attitude and he goes to sit on the couch. Because my aunt and uncle's master bed, they have a reclining couch in front of their bed because, yeah.
Why not?
Why not? So, yeah. And then they'll be back for charcuterie Thanksgiving.
Are they still over in the hills in Orange?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're still over there. And so it looks like, I think the whole crew is going. Elijah and Zoe have their own apartment now. So they don't live at the house anymore. They share an apartment.
Speaking of feeling old.
Yes. So my cousin Zoe will be 21 next year.
No.
Elijah will be 19 in January.
Nope.
Ava, my uncle is looking for a car for Ava. How old do you feel?
No.
She's 15, guys. That's my little cousin. He's looking for a car for her so she can practice and start driving. I know. I don't accept it. I was like, wait, I'm sorry. You're buying a car for who? No. Ava? Like, nah. Not my sweet little princess baby. Like, she was the princess. Like, we don't. No. I still got the two little boys. They're 12 and 10.
Still no.
You still got to watch the 10-year-old with sprinkles. Seriously. If he makes a charcuterie board, because they like making them, it's going to be full of chocolate, marshmallows, and sprinkles. I guarantee you it will be. We were making cookies for Christmas one year, and my aunt was like, Joy, don't turn your back on Jackson and the sprinkles. I was like, oh, I won't. I literally turned to my right for like a half a second to help his sister with something. I turn around, this boy has on one cookie, it's about this big. It wasn't even a big cookie. It was a little cookie. A mountain of sprinkles on top. I said, you gonna give Santa diabetes? He said, no, I'm not. He was like 6, 7 at the time, and I was like, kid. And then
Santa's A1C is through the roof.
I was like, I took the sprinkles from him and like moved them, and I turned around, this boy was like, sprinkles again. I was like, come get your kid. Go get your kid. Okay. And he thought it was hilarious. It's like, instead of hide your wives, hide your kids, you gotta hide the sprinkles from this boy. This boy, like, for real, he has a problem. He's a sprinkle junkie. Like, I don't know.
Got any more sprinkles?
Then he was trying to put the sprinkles on the reindeer food. I'm like, it's a vegetable. I'm like, reindeers cannot have candy.
Oh, gosh.
If they have sugar, they're not going to be able to fly.
It's going to be a sugar diabetic coma. Oh, gosh.
Mind you, I don't believe in Santa, but, you know.
You shut your mouth. When you stop believing in Santa, that's when you get socks and underwear.
I believe in Christmas magic. I just believe in telling the children the truth that Jesus is the reason for the season.
Well, yes, Jesus is the reason, but Santa.
But I will participate in making cookies and reindeer food for Santa and his people. My uncle, on the other hand, does not appreciate when we leave so many because he has to eat so many of them. So one year he made my mom eat them with him because we used to do, before COVID, family sleepover on Christmas Eve. So we all, that just made them have extra labor because then my uncle like forces my mom to stay up with him and build things for the kids. That's pretty much how that works.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh man. I forget. I think it was the year we were getting, just before we got engaged. John bought his parents, John and his brother bought their parents a TV, like a new TV. They'd never had one before. And I knew they were buying a TV. So I like bought a sound bar or whatever for it. And they were up until like 3 a.m. trying to put this TV together. Yeah. And so John comes
then
over.
Then you took over and made it happen?
No. I was like,
oh gosh.
I've been working all night. That's when I still worked Christmas Eve. So he comes over on Christmas Day, and like we do the whole back and forth thing, which this is going to be the first year since we've been together that we've not gone back and forth on Christmas, because we're literally on opposite ends of the country.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. His parents are out here.
Yeah, his parents are in California right now with his brother and sister-in-law. So we'll FaceTime, I'm sure. But yeah, it'll be weird.
It'll be different.
He gets over to the house, and we were going to watch a movie in the afternoon, like just hang out and watch a movie. And he had never seen So I Married an Axe Murderer. Great movie, right?
It's a good
classic film. Yeah. It was all throughout the dorm, so we've all seen it a billion times.
1,000 times.
Yeah. So I think I'm doing this because there were 2 times we did movies. The first time I showed him Drop Dead Gorgeous. Have I shown you Drop Dead Gorgeous?
Yes. I'm like, he hadn't seen that.
No, well, now he has. And then the second one was So I Married an Axe Murderer. I might have this flipped. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But like he was so tired because he'd been up till like 3 a.m. trying to put this thing together that he straight up just like out. So I still razz him about having not seen all of So I Married an Axe Murderer. But
yeah, like, I mean, family. Maybe we'll do an episode on family traditions and stuff for the holidays, because I know like we have silly things, like we have Nerf gun wars. My mom actually got injured her eye in one of our wars one year.
Medic.
I have video to prove it. It's quite interesting. My little cousin Micah like shot my mom right dead.
You'll shoot your eye out with that thing.
So then the next Christmas, my uncle bought us all eye shields. Like, it goes down. Like, everybody's open presents. We eat dessert. All that stuff is done. And then everybody's like, you ready? Like, it's pretty serious.
Do not mess around.
Nah. Like, in the kitchen is usually Switzerland, meaning nobody can shoot in the kitchen.
Oh,
yeah. You can't shoot at anyone in the kitchen. You can't shoot in the kitchen, because usually that's for the people who are not playing, which is usually just like my aunt and like my aunt Kelly, my aunt Kim, and my aunt Rebecca, and they're usually in the thingy. But she's like, we don't shoot in the kitchen, but everywhere else, I mean, they have gone from the one year. I think my cousin Addison tried to get on the roof. Like, it's serious. Like, it goes down.
Snipers. Well, there's a lot of good spots for shooting. So that's true. There's a lot of good spots for shooting in your uncle's house. Like,
there are.
They got that whole railing, that upstairs railing. There's some like solid.
There's some pretty solid places.
Lots of places to hide. Oh my gosh! So,
including inside the pool.
What I did. So,
what did you do?
So I have a loving, kind, generous practice of finding places to hide and then jumping out and scaring John. One of the many ways in which I demonstrate my deep, abiding love for him. And so we are in a new apartment. We are, and you know, it's a 2-bedroom, but it's not big. It's only about 1,000 square feet. So it's, you know, there's not a lot of small spaces and places to hide from one another in the apartment, especially with the layout. It's very open floor plan. But our pantry is just big enough for me to hide in. Now, in our old house, we had, you know, hallways and bedrooms and stuff. So there was a lot more opportunity for hiding. And in our new house that's being built, I've already mapped out in my mind several prime locations that I'll be able to use to jump out and scare John. It's going to be great. But so
poor John.
We've been in the apartment a week and a day as of this recording. No, I guess week and 2 days. And I already hid in the pantry one time, and the dog is like sitting in front of the pantry, like not sure what's going on because he saw me go in there. John, of course, did not see me go in there. So he doesn't know what's going on. And I know that John has now gone and sat on the couch and he's not paying attention. I'm sure he thinks I'm like in the bathroom or somewhere in the other room, right? And so I open the door from the inside and like very carefully just like open it ever so slowly, just enough to where I know at some point, like I'm hoping that John will look up and see a crack like opening in the door. Well, Lucky, the dog, is sitting in front of it, staring up at the door like, hey, now his dog food is in there. So John starts going, what are you doing? Are you sitting there? Are you wanting more food? Is that what you want? And he's like doing this whole like talking to the dog about wanting food. So then I hear him get up from the couch and like walk over to the door, and I am ready. This is the moment that I have been waiting for. And John like opens the door. He's like, what are you doing? He's like looking at the dog, and then he opens the door and he glances up, and of course I'm in there and I'm like, ah. And he
oh my gosh, probably peed his pants.
Oh my god. He's like scared. It's like, haha, scared. Like, oh, you got me kind of thing. But this time,
oh gosh.
It was like genuinely startled.
Poor John.
I've never been more proud.
Listen,
prayers appreciated.
Scaring people. I've never actually done it like on purpose to scare people, but my uncles traumatized me as a child. Like it's scaring me. Like they used to have this mask that it was like a creepy, bloody. It was weird. I don't even remember what it was. Now, mind you, my uncles also used to use me for entertainment as a child. No wonder I'm dramatic and I sing now. Like literally, let me be your teddy bear was like, they'd be like, okay, Joy, hit it. Like this is literally my life. Like as a 3-year-old, like all
that
the way
seems
to
pretty on brand.
Pretty much up until my 20s. Like it was Elvis. Like what? Like,
Push
it was teddy bear and another one. They did this to Zoe too. She used to sing "It's a Beautiful Day" all the time, and I used to want to strangle that kid because she would wake me up every morning. See, it's a beautiful day. I was like, oh girl, gosh. So they used to have this mask.
Bedroom too.
They had this. They used to come in my house in the middle of the night because they always worked at clubs, restaurants, things like that. So we were, living in my grandparents' house, and they would come in my room and be like, bah, in the middle of the night, and I was like, scared half to death. My grandma's like, I am going to bury that mask. Like, so I thought that she buried it. One day I find it. I was like, I thought you was burying this. So they did it one more good time. And my grandma's like, that is it. I'm throwing it out. And she threw it out. My uncles are like, you're no fun, Mom. Like, twins. I had twin uncles. Okay. I can't emphasize that enough. And I'm the oldest grandchild. I've done a lot of things with these crazy people. But, I was going to tell you, that sounds like this guy have you seen the family on TikTok where they do poppers at each other all the time?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And he's like a cop or something. Yes. It's like usually him and his daughter against his wife. Like they'll be like, they have like for real smooth hand tosses. Like one time the dad and the mom were sitting on the couch. The daughter walks in the living room. Dad sees her. He throws the popper thing at him and he grabs it smooth and went, pow. Mom was like, ah. Like it was
very choreographed.
I'm like, they have to clean their house a lot because all the poppers have confetti in it. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'll have to like, yeah. Like they have scared the mom pretty much. I'm surprised she hasn't had a heart attack yet. Like she does it to them too, but they get her so good every single time. And I'm like, I feel so sorry for you, lady. And he's a police officer. I'm like, you gonna have PTSD in a minute because this is doing too much.
Oh my gosh.
Tickle me.
Yeah. So pray for John. because
I always pray for John.
you should.
Because
Everyone
you're
should.
like me and we're random. So that's
I tell him, I was like, you
whoever I
chose
marry,
this.
you're gonna have to warn them like I am who I am.
Just
And it's gonna
pull the gentleman
I'm
alongside.
I'm
We're
gonna
nice and
break
close.
down and randomly and start dancing or singing random things out of the blue. And that's just, this is the way I live. This is who I am.
Absolutely.
That's like I was telling my mom, I'm going to walk into my party to Hamilton, not throwing away my shot. That's literally the song I want them to play as we're coming. Who walks in on musical theater? Me. That's what. That's who.
Yes.
It's gonna be great. Like I was ready. Oh, this is what I wanted to tell you. So Thanksgiving, you guys, is coming up, right? And we've been talking about that. So we have a Thanksgiving potluck every year at the school. But because COVID, we can't do the potluck. We're having Thanksgiving party this year. So the rules are staff can only touch the food. We're going to get them pizza and chicken and stuff, and we're going to box it and let them have it individually. So we always put on a show. Well, I've been so focused on Christmas show that I had not worked on like a Thanksgiving skit. So I did like a little skit. I wrote one real quick. And I always say things like that. And I realized, Joy, people don't just randomly write scripts in 3 hours. Like it wasn't even 3 hours. I think I had an hour and I just put something together. Anyway, so whatever. So I go to them. I'm like, there's not really any Thanksgiving songs that don't have to do, I can't be like, give thanks with a grateful heart. I can't do that at work. So we picked Man in the Mirror because of the message. Start with yourself to help others to be. So I'm teaching Man in the Mirror, right? And I have some students who think that they can sing. So just to reference, this is the same kid who auditioned for the Christmas show with Fly Me to the Moon, okay, by Frank Sinatra. He's like, Miss Joy, first of all, he was behind the beat a little bit, but that was fine. Fly me to the moon. That's what he was doing, right? He's, little,
just like Frankie.
This is also the same kid who kept his mask on during school pictures, and he showed me the pictures, and he still had his mask on. He was like, Miss Joy, everybody said I should have took it off. Yeah, you probably should have. He was like, well, the guy wasn't 6 feet away from me, so I kept my mask. I was like, okay, cool. So anyway, I'm giving him a part of the song. And I was like, I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. He goes, I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. And
Get it.
I was like, Gio, can you do it in the rhythm that I gave it to you? Because it's gonna, other people gotta sing after you. He was like, yeah, that's what I did. I was like, okay. One of the kids was like, that is not what you did.
Oh, the honesty of you.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. You got to take a break, right? He's like, I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. And this is how he's moving. For those of you who don't see me, I'm being very
shoulder action.
A lot of shoulder action, right? And I was like, okay, sweetie, I'm gonna have such and such sing that part with you because we have to stay in the same tempo as the rest of the song, or it's not gonna work. He was like, I got this, Miss Joy. And then he tries it again, right? I'm gonna make a change. I said, okay.
All right, Frankie.
How about you sing the chorus with everyone else? So he was like, yeah, I'm starting with the Man in the Mirror. I said, no. When we're all singing together, we don't do individual things. If you had a solo, I'd let you do something, And he's like, oh. So eventually I don't hear him doing extra things if he's doing it because the other kids are like feeling it with their whole heart. I'm starting with the bit. Like they sing it out loud and bold. I'm like, oh, for real? Like y'all feel this song? So at the same time, we're working on Christmas, and our finale song is What Christmas Means to Me, because that's the name of the show, What Christmas Means to Me. And it's basically the premise of this kid who's like completely selfish. He's only caring about gifts or whatever. And like throughout the show, like each group of kids like share something different of why Christmas is more than just about what you get. And so we're doing candles burning low, lots of mistletoe, right? I had one kid in the third grade group was like, lots of mistletoe. I was like, so that was really pretty, but we're singing together. So if I didn't do that, I don't want you to do it. But if it was a solo, you can all you want to. But but we're gonna sing it straight. They get offended. Like,
how dare you?
Like, who are you to tell me? So a couple weeks ago, my boss tells them, like, y'all do realize Miss Joy is like a professional singer. Like, this is what she does. Like, she does this all the time. Like, if this is something you want to do, you should probably listen to her. The entire room of kids go, I was like, okay.
You're like, first off, rude. Second of all,
Right. First of all, I don't even appreciate your gas there, children, but I'll keep you guys posted on how the show went.
I don't appreciate you guys gasping. Oh, God. Oh,
They were like,
good.
we didn't know that you were, because I have a lot of new kids this year. So, like, my older kids were a little offended. Like, they didn't know, like, why didn't you know that? Like, we do that. And the newer kids are like, well, we didn't know. And I'm like, okay, it shouldn't matter. I'm your teacher. You should listen to me no matter what.
Right.
But over the years, I've had kids who just feel like they're so talented that they don't need me. And then they'll do something that I told them to do to make whatever better. And they're like, oh, that did sound better. I'm like, shut your mouth. Like, it doesn't? Like, that
Turns
worked,
out.
huh? Turns out I know what I'm doing. Yeah, these kids, let me tell you, it's hilarious. They just want to be Beyonce and Rihanna all the time. And I actually have a kid that I call her Beyonce, not because she's a singer or anything like that. It's just she turns into this, like, person sometimes. So when she's being sassy and having an attitude, I'll be like, Beyonce, bring that back. Go back to being the other person. I don't like Beyonce. Come back. And she'll start laughing. Okay, Miss Joy. I've had her since she was in kindergarten. And how we started calling her that, she had gotten her hair done one day. And it was long braids. And she came in and she said, Miss Joy, I got my hair done. I said, oh, you look pretty, girl. And she was like, She did this whole, like, hair flip toss thing. I said, all right. She's like, I am not Morgan anymore. I am Beyonce. So she was in kindergarten when that happened. I was like, all right. So ever since then, when she's super sassy, I'll be like, all right, Beyonce.
Too funny.
Kids are something else, boy. This
Do you
has
ever
been
get
a fun
earworms?
episode.
Do you ever get earworms? Like a song or something?
Yeah.
So the other day, made me think of it. I had an earworm, but it was just a word. It was so many layers deep, and yeah, it was the word Prince, but it wasn't just the word Prince. It was Maya Rudolph as Beyonce on SNL saying the name Prince.
Prince. The way she says it is classic.
Prince. Yeah. It literally just was like playing on a loop in my head. I was like,
I get those sometimes, especially after I've watched a little bit of TikTok a little longer than I should have. Then I have, like,
oh no,
random.
Oh no.
Yes, that one lived in my head for a minute. But I think this week is the I forgot what it was. I'm thankful that I don't remember right now. But now I have random Hamilton song in my head. Never gonna be president. No, I just randomly walk around singing songs. I sing signs. We told you guys before. I used to walk around singing "You're a personal jeweler, Ben Bridge" every time we passed it in the mall. So, or every kiss begins with K. That's literally my life. That is who I am.
Can confirm.
She can definitely confirm. So if you send a guy my way, just let him know she's random.
This is true.
I'll cook for you. We can laugh. We can play board games. I'm extremely competitive, though, when it comes to
Can't confirm. Can't confirm.
I don't think I realized how competitive I was until I got into, well, at that time it was El Camino Corral, which now the professional group is JMNS. And we were in Corral and we had a game night. And I slaughtered people, but our friend Rodney, he and I both are extremely competitive. So my competitiveness, if we're not on the same team, it's all bad. Like, it's all bad.
I mean, I've played Cranium with you, so I know.
Yeah.
I know what that's like.
I love board games. I love games. I love all that stuff, but I am super competitive. I'm going to work on it. The Lord is going to help me not be, because people don't like to, especially if I try to beat a man, like if I'm trying to date him and we're playing a game and I'm like, in your face, like that's not going to be.
And the right man will respect
Except
it.
my in your face, not my in your faceness.
Right? Right.
That's like apples. Our family, we can't play apples to apples because it gets real serious.
I made the mistake of buying Cards Against Humanity.
I enjoy Cards Against Humanity.
Well, and I did too the first time I played it. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to go out and I bought all the expansion packs.
Oh,
and
I'm sure there's some serious cards in there.
There were some that I literally had to throw away that I was like, I can't have this in my house. It's just not okay. And then when we moved, like we never really played it again. We didn't end up having people over, and I was like, that box was heavy. It was like the big.
Oh wow, you had the
we had the
real,
full, like the bigger, blacker box, like the big one.
Wow.
And
we played.
I tossed it.
That game can be serious, and don't play it when you've had alcohol in your system either, because it's really bad.
I replaced it with Cards Christians Like, which is like the Christian version of that.
Oh, I'd like to play that.
Yeah. So, well, when you
come over, we're gonna have to play.
We will.
When I come over, when I fly out, because it's not like you're up the street.
I know.
But it's gonna be great. I think we're planning for March, April for something special that I'll be out there for. So it'll be great. And then you're coming back for my birthday, which is really
God
exciting.
willing, and the creek don't rise. We're working on it. We got to, as soon as I get a firm date on what day the furniture gets delivered, then furniture. I can actually book a flight. So
hopefully she'll be there.
Yeah. But the good news is we live like 5 minutes from the airport. So
that's wonderful. I'm excited about all the desserts that are happening at this party. Let me tell you guys before we end this episode. So one of my things, the party is Joy's favorite things, right? So I also wanted to feature some small businesses because I know so many people that do so many things.
Right.
So part of my favorite things is to empower and encourage others, right? So Tramika's cousin, Cree, we call each other twin. We actually have the same birthday. She's November 29th as well. And I hit her up and I'm like, hey, can you do a few desserts for the party? She's like, sure. She's like, what are some of your favorite things? We talked. So she's making mini banana Foster's cakes. I know. And she's also making peach dump cake shooters. Right? And white chocolate pretzels. I am so excited. And then my other friend Stephanie is going to make her gourmet Rice Krispies, and my favorite ones of hers are her peanut butter chocolate Reese's Rice Krispie. I'm way too hype about it. And then, so the person making the actual cake is also a small business in the IE area. Known her since she was a little girl in the church and stuff. And the bottom tier is going to be vanilla with salted caramel.
Ooh.
And the top layer is cookies and cream. I'm so excited.
Dang.
So everyone's going to have a diabetic homie when they leave. And then my friend Jasmine, who was one of the vendors at the first conference, she has a body care line. She's going to make, I have to figure out a scent that I want to use. She's going to make miniature body oils for as party favors. I know. I'm so excited.
That's going to be fun. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Y'all don't know, I've been wanting to cancel this party like 19 times. And everybody's like, don't cancel. You deserve this.
I gotta figure out what to wear.
Yes. I'm still figuring out what to wear. No, I'm just playing. Right. I'm gonna get fitted next week for my outfit because I've tried to look online. I tried to do some of the Fashion Nova curves and some of this. Like I've tried to do even the girl I ordered the dress I wore to the Spirit of Hope. I know I can wear her stuff because it's spandexy. Usually not spandexy, all of it, but it has stretch to it, so I can fit. So. It's just when you're a curvy girl, buying online is a very hard thing.
It's fraught with danger.
Because a couple of the places I looked at, it was like, oh, it's a 3X, but the 3X is a US 20. What? My hips are 22 by themselves. Do you understand? Like, y'all only see me sitting down. Me standing up, I'm a big girl. So, not that I'm mad about it. I love me. But it's hard to find certain clothes.
This is true.
Have stretch,
I
and it
feel
doesn't
this.
have give, it's not going to happen. So, I'm praying it's going to be a good thing, and I'm praying that we can have a surprise ready for everyone by then, but we'll tune in, keep you posted on that way later. Way later.
It is in process. Yeah, can confirm.
It is in process. Can confirm it's in process. Here we go. I'm getting an AMS.
Progress has been made.
Hallelujah. Okay. So it's going to be fun. As I think it's going to be fun. And I think that with everything going on, the accident, all of this stuff is like, there's some blessings that are happening. And not because God is a genie, but because I'm walking in purpose, and that's the goal. And that's what this podcast is about too. Even though today was completely like just digression after digression, but it was just a fun, we wanted to update you guys really on what we have been doing, the move for Jessica. And I'm glad that we were able to hopefully bring some laughter to you on this episode, because we laughed thoroughly, let me tell you, because minutes before this, I was like, my hip hurts, but I'm probably going to go ice myself as soon as we stop recording.
Laughter is the best medicine aside from
it really medicine. Is. Sometimes you need that. We don't, you guys, if you've been listening to us, we don't always have like super serious episodes and deep conversations, though we enjoy those as well. But today was one of those things like we needed to laugh.
Amen.
We needed to laugh. So we appreciate you joining in on just this girlfriend conversation today. We're always going to give it to you real. We always going to be transparent. And if there's anything you ever want us to talk about, hit us up.
For sure. You can hit us up at joyandjess.com. You can leave us a voice message. And if you have any stories about jumping out of scary places to your significant other, hit us up. Let us know. Let us know your favorite dessert. Maybe it'll be inspiration. And if you have a sprinkle story as well, you can tell us that too. You can also find us
a Santa story.
Yeah, we're open. We're open to all baked goods and dessert decorations, as it were. But you can hit us up on Instagram.
And if you're a small business and you want to be shouted out, let us know. If you have an Etsy shop or a dessert situation, or you make baked stuffed potatoes or something, because I had a kid at my job. He's like, Miss Joy, my mom makes these stuffed potatoes and they be bussin'. I had to learn what bussin' was. But if you have a business and you want to share it, we are totally willing to share that on the air, put it on our page, because we want to support you as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you can also hit us up on Instagram at We Digress with Joy_Jess. You can send us an email if your small business wants to sponsor the podcast. We'd be down for that too.
Absolutely.
Podcast at joyandjess.com. And I think that's about it.
I think that's it for today.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on the web at joyandjess.com. That's JOIANDJESS.com. We'll see you next week.